Hello and welcome to Possession Football as we continue our previews of each team in UEFA Euro 2020. The next team is Group C's second team, Ukraine. They failed to qualify for the 2018 FIFA World Cup, but they did manage to come top of their Nations League group ahead of the Czech Republic and Slovakia, getting promoted. They've qualified top of Group B, which was quite impressive. I'll have a look at the qualifying results in a second. They did finish bottom of their next Nations League group, though, getting relegated to Group B, back to League B, behind Spain, Germany and Switzerland, although they did have a 3-0 forfeit loss to Switzerland after they were unable to fulfil a fixture due to COVID. And I think without that, they might not have gone down. They have started World Cup qualifiers with 3 draws against France, Finland and Kazakhstan, all of them 1-1. They have had friendlies against Bahrain, Northern Ireland and Cyprus in preparation. So let's have a look at the qualifying results. They started with a 0-0 draw away to Portugal, which was quite good. They needed a late winner to beat Luxembourg away, though. But then they really started to push on. A 5-0 win at home to Serbia. One of the defining results of the campaign. They got past Luxembourg and twice past Lithuania. They then beat Ronaldo's Portugal 2-1, and that 2-2 draw against Serbia happened when they were already qualified. So ahead of the defending champions, they qualified as well as ahead of Serbia, which is a solid team, Luxembourg and Lithuania. Andrei Shevchenko is the gaffer. He's in his first job in management. He was appointed manager of Ukraine in 2016, assistant manager of Ukraine in 2016. The Euro 2016 campaign was a bit of a disaster, and the manager was sacked, and he was promoted from assistant to full-time manager. But he was a brilliant player. He won 5 Ukrainian league titles, 3 Ukrainian cups, a Ukrainian Super Cup, and 3 CIS cups. 1 Serie A title, a Coppa Italia, a Super Coppa Italia. He won the Champions League as well as twice being a runner-up. He won the UEFA Super Cup, a League Cup, a Ballon d'Or. He was 6 times Ukrainian Footballer of the Year. He was once CIS Cup top scorer or joint top scorer. He was once named in the CIS Cup team of the competition. He's been named Ukrainian League Player of the Year 3 times in the ESM Team of the Year, once UEFA Club Forward of the Year, twice in the UEFA Team of the Year. He's been named Serie A Foreign Footballer of the Year, 1 Serie A Goal of the Year, Baltic and CIS Footballer of the Year twice, a Golden Foot, been named in the World 11, the FIFA 100. He's in the AC Milan Hall of Fame. He's won a Pallone d'Argentino. He's been named in L'Equipe Team of the Year and World Soccer's Greatest 100 Players of the 20th Century. He's also a Hero of Ukraine, which is, I believe, their highest civilian honour. And he also won the Order of the Star of Italian Solidarity, which is an award for foreigners who contributed to Italy. So it's an illustrious playing career. A chance to remind you of that. And if he can match that as a manager, he will do great things indeed. He has named his final 26-man squad for the tournament. Let's start with the 3 goalkeepers. Georgi Bushchan, he starts for his club, and he's now the main goalkeeper for his country. Andrei Pyatov doesn't even start for Shakhtar anymore, and the same is now true for his country. He is third choice. Anatoly Trubin. Trubin has taken Pyatov's spot in goal for Shakhtar Donetsk, which is very impressive, seeing as he is just 19. He's now behind Bushchan as his country's second-choice keeper. Well, let's have a look at the defenders. Alexander Kravayev is naturally a right-back, but it's often been used as a right midfielder or left-back for his club a lot, due to the formation. For his country, he is a starting right midfielder. Sergei Krivstov is a centre-back that starts for his club. He's a rotation player for his country, though. Mikola Matvienko is a centre-back who can also play left-back. He starts regularly in his natural position, centre-back for his country. Vitaly Mikolenko is a left-back, naturally, who regularly starts for his country. Depending on the formation, that can be any one of the 3 positions, but I think it will be as a left-back. Denis Popov, he's a centre-back. He has had a few injury problems for this season, but when he's fit, he starts for his club. He hasn't broken into the national team yet. He is a backup. Eduard Sobol, He's usually a left back for his club. However, he's just behind Mykolenko for his country. Shevchenko preferring Dynamo Kiev man. Alexander Timchik is a right back who's had an injury hit season. He's recovered in time to go to the Euros, but he's picked up a knock again, and he's thus unlikely to start. Ilya Zabany is a starting centre back for his club, and it looks like he'll break into the national team as well, which is very impressive, seeing as he is just 18. Alexander Zinchenko, who is the first player on this list not to be contracted to either Dynamo Kiev or Shakhtar Donetsk. He's usually starts for his club. He's the star man for his country. He is a left back, but he's used as a central midfielder rather than a defender for the national team. That's where Shevchenko feels he can get the most out of him. The midfielders, of which there are 9. Roman Bezos of Ghent has chipped in with 7 goals and 7 assists this season, but he's not a regular starter for neither club nor country. Yevhen Makarenko is a defensive midfielder. He's done well in the Belgian league this season, but he's only a rotation player for his country. Ruslan Malinovsky has had an excellent season in attacking midfield, scoring 10 goals and contributing 12 assists for his club. He's a regular starter for his country. Marlos is a right winger who's also an attacking midfielder. He can generously be considered a rotation player for his country. Mykola Shaparenko is a central midfielder. He often starts for his country as well. Wouldn't be a surprise if he did so in the final tournament. Taras Stepanenko is a defensive midfielder. He missed the last international break with injury. It does mean it's a little bit tricky to see if he still fits into Shevchenko's thinking, therefore I find it somewhat unlikely he will start. Georgy Sudakov is an attacking midfielder who is also a central midfielder. He receives his first call-up, but he doesn't start for his club, so it seems very unlikely he'll do so for his country. Serhii Sidorchuk is a defensive midfielder. He's another rotation player for his country. Seems touch and go whether or not he will start. We shall see. Viktor Sigankov is a right winger. He's had 15 goals and 9 assists this season. Great player, great future ahead of him, but he will have to recover from an injury to start. Finally, we have the 5 forwards, starting with Artem Besedin, who, to be honest, is lucky to be at the finals at all. If it was held at its original date, the doping ban he picked up would have prevented it. Well, he is back in the squad, but I doubt he's a starter for his country. Artem Dovbyk, the only player who's at a Ukrainian team which isn't Shakhtar or Dynamo. He's back up for his country, and same will be true at the final tournament. Roman Yaremchuk, who's got 23 goals for this season. He plays in the Belgian league for Genk. He's very likely to start. Andrei Yarmolenko, this right winger, he has just 1 start in the Premier League this season. He does still get into the national team. On form, it's unfair to Sigankov, really, that Yarmolenko gets ahead of him, but that's how it is. Shevchenko just thinks he'll add more, and it does seem likely he'll start again. Alexander Zubkov, finally, is another right winger. He's often used as a utility man off the bench for his country, anywhere in an advanced position, but he may have a place starting on the left of the final tournament. Now, Shevchenko consistently used a 4 at the back in the qualifiers, mostly a 4-3-3, but for the World Cup qualifiers in March, he changed to a 3 at the back system. However, he seems set on a 4-1-4-1 based on the friendlies, which is a sort of compromise between the two, because the defensive midfielder can act in a similar way to having a third centre-back. It lets the full-backs go forward a bit more, but they are still more defensive than in a back 3. My predicted 11 is Bushchan, Karavyev, Matvienko, Zabany and Mykolenko, the back 4. Shaparenko will play behind Zinchenko and Malinovsky in midfield. Yarmolenko and Zubkov on the wings. Now, I know that it's ridiculous that I don't have Sigankov. I think in the first game he might just be used off the bench because he is carrying a knock, but we shall see. Yaremchuk obviously starts up front. Now, we'll have a look at the 3 friendlies because I hadn't made the preview at the time that they were played, so it would be a good idea to look in them now, I think. So Ukraine's first friendly was at home to Bahrain in Kharkiv. The referee was Pavel Orel of the Czech Republic. Obviously, not everyone was available for this fixture, but they did play a 4-3-3 in this one. Trubin in goal, Timchik, Krivitsov, Matvienko and Mikolenko back four, Stepanenko behind Shaparenko and Makarenko. It was actually Marlos on the right and Zubkov on the left, and Besedin up front. As for Bahrain, they played a team of mostly unknown players: Khalil, Redha, Abdullah, Shamsan, Nabil, Al-Sheikh, Haram, Marhoun, Al-Aswad, Hamadan and Sad. So we'll have a look at the timeline. Krivitsov's yellow card was picked up for a foul on Hamadan, while Marhoun was booked for a foul on Marlos. Ukraine tried to change things up, bringing on Sigankov, Sudakov and Dovbyk on for Zubkov, Stepanenko and Besedin. At half-time, Al-Aswad picked up a yellow for a foul on Makarenko. Haram's also for a foul on Makarenko. Ukraine still not scoring. They brought on Popov and Sidorchuk for Krivitsov and Makarenko. Meanwhile, Bahrain brought on Dia for Al-Aswad. Things where it got even worse for Ukraine when Trubin clumsily brought down Hamadan in the box and Dia converted the penalty. A lovely Panenka, actually. Bahrain brought on three more subs: Madan, Kalaif and Khaled on for Marhoun, Hamadan and Nabil. Meanwhile, Karavayev came on for Timchuk for Ukraine's final sub. Bahrain finally brought on Abdul Jabbar and Fadel for Sad and Al-Sheikh. And it was a substitute that made the difference for Ukraine. In fact, it was two substitutes. A great cross from Dovbyk, converted by Sigankov. And that did spare Ukrainians blushes as well. Sidorchuk's yellow there was for a foul on Kelaif. So, as I said, Zubkov was on the left, Marlos on the right. Ukraine were without their most important players, but this was still a bit of an embarrassing result against a pretty unknown team. Without Trubin's error and a bit more clinical finishing, they would have won. This was a game they controlled and should have won easily, but they didn't, and failed to convert your chances against Bahrain. If they do that against the Dutch or the Austrians, it won't end well. Ukraine's next friendly came at home to Northern Ireland in Dnipro Arena in Dnipro. Szymon Marciniak of Poland was the referee, and Ukraine played a 4-1-4-1. If we switch to it, even though it's still officially a 4-3-3, Bushchan, Karavayev, Zabarny, Matvienko and Mikolenko, the back four, Sidorchuk, the defensive midfielder, the midfield four of Yarmolenko, Malinovsky, Shaparenko and Zubkov, Yaremchuk, the sole striker. Some of the Northern Ireland team might be known to you, especially if you're a follower of English football. Peacock, Farrell in goal, Ballard, Cathcart, Brown and Ferguson, the back four, Dallas, McNair, McCann and Saville, the midfield four, McGuinness and McGinn up front. Ukraine took an early lead with a corner being cleared. Karavayev crossed it back in and Zubkov headed home. There were some subs at half-time: Marlos and Besedin on for Zubkov and Yaremchuk, and for Northern Ireland, Thompson on for McGinn. They later brought on Lafferty and Smith for McGuinness and Ferguson. Meanwhile, Ukraine brought on Sudakov and Stepanenko on for Shaparenko and Sidorchuk. Northern Ireland bringing on White on for McCann, and then McClelland and Charles on for Brown and Dallas. But there was two late yellow cards. Besedin booked for a foul on White just before McNair getting booked as well. So Ukraine's formation was more of a 4-1-4-1. Again, they'll be happy to beat a team that quite famously embarrassed them at Euro 2016, but they'll be ruining their finishing again. They should have won by a much bigger margin. Just the one goal early on and failed to build on that. It's a performance to take confidence from. Northern Ireland are no mugs and they did beat them quite easily, but certainly still improvement in the finishing department is needed. Ukraine returned to Kharkiv for their final friendly at home to Cyprus. The referee was Vitalis Spazionikov of Lithuania. And again, it was a 4-1-4-1, listed as a 4-3-3. Pyatov in goal, Zabarny, Krivitsov, Matvienko and Sobol, the back four. Makarenko was behind Yarmolenko, Malinovsky, Zinchenko and Zubkov in the midfield four. Yaremchuk up front. Cyprus's team, not too many well-known names. Panayi in goal, a back three of Karo, Soteriou and Ioanu. Panayito, Artematas, Kyriakou and Avram, the midfield four. Pitas, Ilya and Papalis, the front three. Ukraine were finding Cyprus hard to break down until Panayiotou clumsily brought down Zubkov, who was through on goal, and Yarmolenko put home the resulting penalty. Panayiotou sent off for that. Another penalty occurred when a cross was hit Ioanou's arm, and this time Zinchenko smashed it home. So both teams made changes. Kuselos and Christofi on for Avram and Ilya, and Stepanenko and Marlos on for Makarenko and Zivkov. Goal number 3 came with a great passing move, Yaremchuk only having a tap-in after the great work in the build-up. Karaviev was then brought on for Matvienko, while Kastanos on for Papoulis. Yarmolenko got his second with a long shot that was deflected in. Bit of luck, but he won't mind. Bezadin and Sudakov then came on for Yaremchuk and Malinovsky, while Zakariou on for Kiriakou. Then Shaparenko was on for Yarmolenko, so no chance for a hat-trick. Godzic and Loizu on for Artinatas and Pittas at the end, but by then the game was already done. Another one which was a 4-1, officially listed as 4-3-3. Now, while this was a much more positive scoreline and result, again, Ukraine should have had much more goals against 10-man Cyprus. They made chances, could have easily been double figures if they were clinical enough. Shevchenko will be happy to get all his players playing well, playing together, because in the first few friendlies they didn't have everyone, creating a lot of chances. And overall, I think Ukraine can have some quiet optimism before the tournament starts. I don't think the Netherlands are that good a side. I think Austria and North Macedonia are beatable. And you might think Ukraine doesn't have much star power, most of their players playing in their local league. But they've proven in the qualifiers that they are a good team. In the World Cup qualifiers, they started with a draw against the world champions, France. So, overall, I think if you're a fan of Ukraine, you can think, do you know what, we can go far, win the first 3, get past the group and see how far we get in the knockouts. So that's my preview on Ukraine. I do hope you enjoyed it. I kind of combined it with the friendly reviews because there would be no point making 2 separate videos. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.